Case dismissed.
Criminal cases being tossed out because Albuquerque cops are getting into trouble themselves. Here's News 13's Alex Tomlin.
Since December, we've had 3 cops arrested. All 3 resigned. So we wanted to know what happens to the criminal cases they had handled against other people. Osama Rashid is the president of the New Mexico Criminal Defense Lawyers Association. He's seen a lot of police officers come and go in his more than 20 years as a defense attorney.
A lot of times, if an officer is no longer with the department and not available to testify, then most of the cases that they're associated with are likely to be dismissed.
Cases handled by these 3 now former cops could be headed towards dismissal too. Daniel Bursch was arrested in December, accused of stealing a TV. Detective Edwin Linson was popped for DWI last month, and just last week, Narcotics Sergeant Patrick Vicky was charged with domestic violence. All 3 men are gone from APD, which doesn't mean they can't testify in court, but...
Does what the officer got terminated for or why they left the department, does it have to do with their credibility? And if their credibility is suspect, the DA's office is likely not to want to put the officer or former officer in that situation.
Rashid says if a police officer worked with a partner, the cases may still go forward.
One officer, his testimony might not be as critical, and they may be able to make up for it with other officers or other witnesses.
But in some cases, like DWI arrest, that may not be the case.
If there is a stopping officer and then an arresting officer, if the stopping officer isn't there, you can't justify the contact with the person, why they stopped them, why they pulled them over, what they observed, and why they passed them on to a DWI officer.
It's not just officers who've been in trouble that may miss court.
A lot of times when they've put in 22 to 25 years on a department, they're finished. And when they retire, that means they're retired.
You may be wondering, why can't prosecutors just use the arrest warrant, criminal complaint, or even lapel camera to prove the case? The U.S. Supreme Court ruled a defendant has the right to confront the officer and question his tactics and decisions. Dick?
Okay, Alex, Rashid says often when an officer is close to retirement, the agency he works for will scale back his time in the field to make sure that he does not have a lot of pending criminal cases when he turns in his badge.